Thank you, Fatty. The Footy Show, talking with Andrew Johns. Andrew, before the break, you mentioned a couple of times that depression was a big thing in your life, and you also said there's medication and conditions. Can you elaborate on that? I mean, do you take medication for depression?
I sort of have for the last 5 years or so.
Constantly during that time?
Yeah, pretty constant.
Who diagnosed that for you?
Club doctors and a professor here in Sydney about sort of 6 or 7 years ago. But originally, I never did want to take it because it stabilised me and took away, I suppose, these incredible highs I got on. But invariably after the highs, I'd crash to lows where I wouldn't leave the house for 4 days.
I didn't get to see you all that often in person. I mean, we might talk every now and then, but I've got to say mood swings were a part of your character.
Yeah.
You had...
And it contributed to the way I behave, It could be a matter of days. 1 minute I could be, literally willing to take the world on, and that's when I was at my creative best, when I'd be playing. But then one day, I can turn up the field and wouldn't want to talk to anybody.
Were the mood swings brought on by the drug taking, or was the drug taking because of the mood swings?
I've had it for a while.
It's remarkable to me that you can say for the last 10 or 12 years you've had this drug taking, and fairly regularly, as you say. The NRL claims to have a stringent drug testing policy. How many times in your career, in those 12 years, were you actually drug tested?
I'd say 2 or 3 times a year.
2 or 3 times, so we're talking 25, 30 times?
Yeah.
25, 30 times in your career you're drug tested, yet you're frequently using. How do you don't get caught?
Well, not frequently using during the year. I'd use it occasionally during the year when I was playing. I spoke before of playing Russian roulette. This was like sometimes to take it and then feel like I was on the borderline. Maybe I could go positive, maybe I could go negative. And scraped through.
Wasn't that a warning?
It was a warning.
You actually took drug tests and you thought, I could fail this.
Yeah.
How were you for the next...
It's funny, you see other players and I see mates who have gone positive and you think, I'd hate to be in this situation. I can't imagine how humiliating and embarrassing and it would be for yourself. But until it's you in front of the paper with your head there, I can't describe how humiliating it is for not only you but your family.
I don't know whether you will or whether you can answer this question, but is this just you? Is this rife in rugby league? Are there more players who are playing Russian roulette with the drug system?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to answer.
You don't know or you don't want to answer?
Well, I don't know and I don't want to answer.
So you've never seen drug use in other players? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. I'm here to talk about myself, not other players.
All right, well, don't call it rugby league players. Call it society. You're a young bloke, you're out about town all the time. What about in society? How prevalent is drug use in nightclubs and all the places you frequent?
It's everywhere you go in nightclubs.
That's the honest part of it. It's everywhere. So if footballers are out everywhere, then it's only wise to assume that footballers are exposed to this all the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't tar everyone the same brush. Right.
So since 1999, there have been 5 NRL players suspended because of recreational drug positive tests. We get a fellow like Ben Cousins in the AFL, big name. Shane Warne, big name. Wendell Saylor, big name. Craig Field at the time, big name. They go positive. You sit back and look at the headlines. What are you thinking?
I remember thinking how easy that could have been me. It's had so many close calls. And I spoke about it before, you think about the humiliation you put on yourself, not only yourself, your family. But it's not until you wake up in the morning and realise that you're the one on the front of the paper that I haven't slept in days, I haven't eaten. I just can't describe how bad I felt, sitting there this morning trying to explain to my 7-year-old son what I'd done in London.
I'll come back to that in a minute. I can't understand, and this is what I can never understand about footballers, and you're not the only one that I've ever spoken to about this, trust me. And you're not the only one to ever go positive, trust me. But when you sign a contract that says, I will not do drugs, when you have so much to risk, your family, your contract, your money, your future, your reputation, What drives you to say, well, I'll still give it one more go?
I've got no idea. You know, for me the problem was alcohol. I would never intentionally go to take drugs, but then, you know, I'd have 6 or 8 beers and then I just wouldn't care.
You talked about the headlines, and I remember as a coach I would bring headlines in when this would happen, and I'd tell my players, just imagine your photo alongside these headlines. This morning it's your picture in the paper alongside those drug headlines. How do you feel when you see that it's you now?
Well, it's hard to put into words. In a way, you know, I can deal with it being me, but my family, what they have to put up with, you know, my partner's family, and I spoke before, but I had to sit down and tell my son before he went to school today about what went on. It just...
Was that tough? I mean, I know it's tough talking to your 7-year-old son. I probably don't even want you to answer this. If it's tough for you to sit down and explain to your 7-year-old son why Dad's in the paper on drug charges, how do you think, or what have you exposed him to when he goes to school tomorrow? I mean, can you get your head around what you've now done to him?
Yeah.
Can players out there appreciate that their kids also live with the stigma or what kids will say in school about their dad?
Well, it surprised me just how much, you know, he knew as a 7-year-old, and you know, it's just incredible selfish behaviour when you think about it.
It's timely. Every household in Australia this week has got something from the government, from the National Drugs Campaign about talking with your kids about drugs. It's every parent's fear. I've got kids. We've all got kids. We all worry about the day our kids are going to be exposed to the temptation of drugs. Do you understand how difficult it is for people to deal with this and deal with talking to their kids about drugs when high-profile people keep legitimising it, whether it be movie stars or actors or rock concert or sportsmen? What do you say to the parents about their kids and what this has done?
Well, you know, my past 10 or 12 years has been like a fairy tale. And, you know, I've been so lucky, I've experienced so much, but I think about some of the great times I've had and they've just been destroyed because I've taken drugs. You know, I look back now and, you know, I'm so ashamed of it. It's destroyed some of the great times in my life.
Where do you go for here? Where do you go for here? I mean, I said to you today that, you know, this won't be the end of the world. You're only human and you'll get over this. We all make mistakes, you know, and I put my hand up. We've all made mistakes in our lives. Where do you go from here? And I said to you that maybe your great playing career, and this has happened to you, maybe this is the reason you're here. Can you see a positive in you becoming a campaigner, an advocate, or the face of drug reform, or to help parents, footballers, clubs, with the embarrassment that you're feeling now? Is there a way for you to get a positive out of this? Is it something you want to do, or do you want to run away from it?
No, I'd like to somehow influence young people or young players. Now, this is the road you don't want to go down. You know, I'm confident, well, I know I'll never touch a drug again. The way I felt, you know, being handcuffed, being in that London lockup in the jail, it's just a feeling I can't describe. You know, I'll never go near it again.
You actually said to me today that in a way it's a relief. This is now an excuse to stop. I know this is hard for you tonight. I know it's the last couple of days. This isn't going to go away. It'll be with you forever. But is there some way that you see it's a relief now? It's out in the open. I can get on with it, and I can not do it again.
Well, it's a clean slate. You know, I've lived with this. I feel like it's a lie. I've lived for a long time, and I've been so ashamed of it. But now it's all out in the open. You know, I wouldn't say it's glad it's happened. You know, I can't say that. But with what's happened, you know, I've got to take something out of it. I'd be a mug otherwise. And if it means I'll never touch that again, so be it. But to influence other people, I think that's maybe the greatest thinking I'm out of it.
All right, mate. Very brave tonight. Thanks for your time and thanks.